But as you can see, it is not looking good for Intel when it comes to gaming. And once again, I would say this is embarrassing and expensive if you want to go with a high-end processor. When buying a new CPU, you have to make a decision. Should you pick AMD or should you go with an Intel CPU instead? Well, the answer, it depends. And the CPU is very important because if you have a CPU that's going to bottleneck your graphics card, then you could be killing your FPS or gaming performance. That is why in this video, I will tell you what is the best for gaming for different budgets and different scenarios, because in some cases, AMD is better and in others Intel is the winner. You will have the link to my favorite CPUs for gaming down below in the video description. My name is Valentino, and if you find valuable information throughout this video, leave a like and subscribe. It's going to help the channel a lot. And with that being said, let's start. The first thing that we need to talk about is your goal, if it's going to be gaming focused or you also want to do content creation and productivity work on the side. Long story short, usually AMD is better when it comes to gaming and Intel is better when it comes to content creation and productivity work, but both of them have some pros and some cons in different budgets, which I will talk about in a second. If you are working with a tight budget, we have two options here. You can get the Ryzen 5 5600 or the i5 12400F, and this is the most competitive scenario for Intel against AMD because both CPUs are very similar when it comes to gaming performance and the price is similar as well. Keep in mind that the i5 12400F is slightly faster when you pair it with higher end graphics cards, and also they both have the same TDP, meaning that they are about the same when it comes to power consumption. And as I said before, this is the most competitive scenario for both of these CPUs because as you will see later on, it becomes quite a different story as the budget goes up. Anyway, the i5 12400F when I'm recording this video is going for $120, while the Ryzen 5 5600 is going for $126. But keep in mind that the price might be different when you are watching this video. For that reason, I highly recommend you checking the latest prices and availability from the links down below in the description. Now, if you see the 12400F at $120 and the 5600 at $126, then the i5 12400F is going to be the better option because it is slightly faster for higher end GPUs and right now is cheaper. So I would recommend you getting the cheapest one that you see when you are shopping, because if the Ryzen 5 5600 is $10 to $15 cheaper, then it's going to be the best option for gaming. When it comes to gaming performance, if you pair it with the right GPU, you can expect 240 plus FPS on average in competitive esports shooters such as Valorant or CS2 in competitive settings at 1080p. The ideal graphics card for both of these CPUs is going to be the RX 6650 XT, but of course you can pair this CPU with higher end graphics cards up to the RX 7800 XT from AMD or RTX 4070 from Nvidia. If your budget is even lower, then consider the i3 12100F or Ryzen 5 5500, and here the story is basically the same, but the only difference is that these two CPUs are lower end, so they are going to be slower for gaming, and of course they are cheaper. Both of these going for around $85 to $90. So once again, get the cheapest one that you find when you are shopping, and you can expect around 165 plus FPS on average in competitive shooters at 1080p competitive settings, of course depending on the game and the graphics card that you choose for these two CPUs. The ideal graphics cards are either the RX 6600 from AMD or the Intel Arc A580, and you can pair these CPUs up to the RX 6700 XT graphics card or RTX 4060 Ti. Now, if your budget is higher, the answer to the question about AMD or Intel becomes more straightforward, especially when talking about gaming. Remember, this video is focused in gaming CPUs. If you want to do content creation and productivity work, then my answer would be a bit different. But when speaking about gaming, it's actually quite embarrassing for one company. And let me explain. After telling you that if you are finding valuable information throughout this one, leave a like and subscribe. You know it helps the channel grow a lot and it's actually free. So if you end up doing that, thank you so much. Now, on the mid-range level, we have the Ryzen 5 7600 compared with the i5 13600K. And to be honest, honest, there's not much competition here when it comes to gaming. The Ryzen 5 7600 is going for $188 when I'm recording this video, and then the i5 12600K is going for around $260. So with the Ryzen 5 7600, you are spending about $80 less. You get about the same level of gaming performance. There's literally almost no difference. You are on the AM5 platform, which means that it's more upgradable over time, because if you want to upgrade to a newer CPU down the line from AMD, you don't have to replace the motherboard if it's good enough, where if you go with the Intel CPU and you want a newer CPU from Intel down the line, then you will have to replace not only the CPU but also the motherboard. On top of that, the Ryzen 5 7600 is more power efficient with a lower TDP, and you can get away with the stock cooler from AMD, where for the i5 13600K you will need a bigger CPU cooler, power supply, and the CPU is more expensive, so you can expect to at least spend $100 more compared to the Ryzen 5 7600. And I want to say that I have tested both CPUs, and I have the i5 13600K on my current personal system because I'm a content creator, and as I said before, for content creators and also productivity work, the answer is a bit different, but for gamers, there's no debate, the Ryzen 5 7600 is the much better option. As I said before, it's cheaper, the same or even better performance in some cases when it comes to gaming, more power efficient, and more upgradable over time. Both CPUs can handle high-end graphics cards like the RTX 4080 Super or RX 7900 XTX, but in my opinion, the ideal graphics cards to pair with these CPUs are either the RX 7900 XT or RTX 4070 Ti Super. If you have more money to spend, then you could be buying a high-end CPU, and I would not buy anything past these two CPUs that I'm going to show you right now for gaming, and I will explain why in a second. Anyway, here you can buy either the Ryzen 7 7800X3D or the i7 14700K. And let me tell you again, for gaming, not really a debate. The 7800X3D is going for $340 when recording this video, so this one is $40 cheaper than the i7 14700K, going for around $380 USD. So you are spending more, you expect faster gaming performance, or at least a better CPU overall, right? Well, not really. But remember that prices may change when you are watching this video, so I highly recommend you checking the latest prices and availability from the links in the description. So the 7800X3D is slightly faster when it comes to gaming compared to the 14700K, and much better when it comes to power efficiency. Trust me, the 14700K consumes a lot of power and the 7800X3D doesn't. So unless you want to spend a lot of money in your electricity bill, I would choose the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, and not only because of the gaming performance or the power efficiency, but also because it is on the AM5 platform. And remember, this means that it's more upgradable over time, because once again, if you want to upgrade to a faster CPU from AMD from the newer generations coming in the next few years, then you can upgrade without having to change the motherboard. So if you want to upgrade from the Intel platform, it's going to cost you more money. So it's actually quite embarrassing for Intel when it comes to gaming performance. Of course, as I said before, when it comes to productivity work and content creators, then Intel might be the best option for you. But even then, you have other options from AMD like the Ryzen 7 7700X or Ryzen 9 CPUs that are from the AM5 platform, and they are more upgradable over time as well. But I'm not going to get into details about content creation CPUs and all of that, because this video is about gaming CPUs. And for gaming, there's literally no debate. The 7800X3D is actually the fastest CPU in the entire market when it comes to gaming performance, and the biggest mistake I see people make is buy an i9 processor thinking that it's going to give you more performance, when in reality, if you buy, for example, an i9 14th gen, you are going to be spending at least $200 more compared to the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. You are going to be getting slower gaming performance, which is crazy to say, and since i9 CPUs are more beefy, you will require a much bigger CPU cooler, more expensive, and then you are going to be spending a lot of money in your electricity bill, and on top of that, you need a bigger power supply. So if you were going to buy an 850 watt power supply for the Ryzen 7 7800X3D and a high-end GPU, well, now consider at least 1000 watts or even 1200 depending on the graphics card that you choose. Talking about graphics cards, you compare the Ryzen 7 7800X3D with the fastest graphics card in the market with no bottlenecks, and I'm talking about the RTX 4090. And I want to say that i9 CPUs and Ryzen 9 CPUs are more designed for content creation and productivity work, even though you can of course play games with these CPUs and they are amazing when it comes to gaming performance as well. If your main focus is gaming, please do not buy these type of CPUs because, as I said before, you are spending more money, they consume more power, bigger cooler, and all of the things I just mentioned a second ago. But of course, there are some exceptions like the Ryzen 9 7950X3D, which is designed for both but gaming first. And let me tell you something, no matter the CPU that you choose, you need a capable graphics card because otherwise you can be bottlenecking your entire gaming performance, making your game feel laggy and while getting FPS drops, and trust me, that is the worst experience. It's going to be a big headache for you. So if you want to see the best graphics cards for these CPUs that I've mentioned today, you will have my video on the best graphics cards for every budget and every resolution in the top right of the screen. And remember, you will have my favorite CPUs for gaming down in the description, and you will also find my PC community where you can ask me for personal PC help. So if you want to buy a new entire PC, or maybe you want to buy new components, no matter the situation, or maybe you just want to buy a new laptop, you can ask me and I will answer with the perfect recommendation for you. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the videos, subscribe and leave a like. As you know, that's going to help the channel grow a lot. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.